So I try to capture the main reasons solo travelers travel as a solo. Love to travel, don't have a partner who doesn't travel, have friends, but the friends don't have the same time or money that you might have, looking for good company, curious, looking for info, looking for security, looking for good value. Does that pretty much cover why people came tonight? Anything we haven't mentioned here? Whoops. Here we go. That is very sensitive.
I know.
Okay. So why do people travel on their own? Well, the American Association of Retired People did a study, and 57% of solo travelers couldn't find anyone to travel with. 45% said they wanted to go somewhere they wanted to go instead of waiting for friends to go to a spot that the friends weren't interested in. 35% sought a trip just for themselves. You know, travel is a great form of therapy. Sometimes we travel if we're recovering from a loss or recovering from a transition or a job change. There are all kinds of reasons that people travel to reconnect with who they are. 18% wanted personal reflection, 17% a hobby. Now I'm nervous. Why do you travel solo? Turns out women travelers make up the majority of solo travelers, and we're going to hear a little bit about that from Nicole. Gentlemen still travel by themselves as well, but women travelers are predominantly the biggest block of solo travelers. And it's not just people who don't have a partner to travel with. More and more women are traveling and leaving their partner at home. It might make them a better mom or a better spouse, but we're starting to see that trend in travel as well. So, tours for solo travelers. Solo travelers might not know where to go, how to go safely, and how to not pay a huge solo supplement. And that's where I come in. So I like to say swap your fly and flop holiday, where you get on a plane and go to Cuba or somewhere else warm, and you just kind of check out for a week and lie on the beach and take in sun and sand. I like to focus on what I call stop and sop holidays. So where you're actually learning about something and you're engaging in the destination. And we're going to learn about Just You tonight, but just to explain what I mean by sop, you're actually soaking up the destination, you're learning about it, you're engaging with the spot you're in. All right. There we go. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
So reasons to work with a travel advisor. 3 main reasons: reduce risks and stress, add value and convenience, and transform the whole experience from good to great. Reduce risk and stress, and I have some pictures of the Just You.
Yeah.
Peace of mind, advice, and accountability. I used to be an actuary. I worked for 20 years studying financial risk and helping people prepare for their untimely death. So I used to get a lot of blank stares, as you can imagine. It's a lot more fun to help people than travel. So I say that I changed from return on investment to return on life. Hi, Judy. Welcome. I'm Lush Life. I'm part of Vision Travel, and together we're part of Virtuoso. So you have 3 large corporate structures that can help reduce your risk and stress of travel to help you travel the world. Yeah. Okay, this is me. Give you an example of social proof. Virtuoso sends out these client surveys. 98% of 194 people have said they would recommend me to other people. This is Vision Travel, who I'm part of. Vision has over 60 years experience doing travel in Canada, over 800 travel professionals across Canada with 50 retail offices. And they've also amalgamated with direct travel in the States. And Virtuoso is this large luxury network that we're part of. Together with Virtuoso, we are doing over $15 billion of travel around the world. Best of the best, travel agencies, cruise lines, hoteliers, tour operators, and destination management companies. So just give you that background. I'm Lush Life, I'm part of Vision. Together we're part of Virtuoso. The main thing for you to know is that I represent you. I have all this huge corporate structure behind me. So if there's a problem, it's not just Sheila calling, it's Sheila from Vision who's part of Virtuoso, and any partner I'm dealing with. We all have a vested interest in solving any problems as quickly as possible. But also, because we're all part of the same family, if you will, and trying to make sure our travelers are well cared for, we often get special deals or special perks that you could not get on your own. Add value and convenience, personalized planning, value for money, global expertise, access and accountability. This is an example of the planning process I go through with someone if they're coming to me for the first time and looking for a new holiday, step through the whole experience. I love value for money. I certainly work with the best of the best with Virtuoso, a lot of 5-star partners, but I also work with a lot of 4-star companies as well. Virtuoso has companies such as G Adventures and National Geographic, and G Adventures has bought Just You. So we're going to learn about Just You this evening, a company that's been around 15 years now. And G Adventures, a Canadian company owned by Bruce Poon-Tip, bought them in 2017 and brought them to Canada. Global expertise and connections, just an example of some of the partners I work with around the world. And I mentioned the access to special offers, but I also do a number of group trips. These are some of the groups that I've done over the past year. Judy's here with me. We just came back from dashing through the Danube. We had 75 people that we took from Budapest to Prague with Shepherd's Fashions. So that was a fantastic group. And I have some people going a couple of weeks with Hawaii. I'm going to Hawaii with a land and ocean cruise. And we're going to talk about Croatia and Portugal with Just You. Transform the whole experience from good to great, VIP treatment and perks. Exclusive amenities such as Virtuoso hotels. If you stay at these hotels, we can get VIP you and get special perks. You get early check-in, late check-out, breakfast every day, special amenities. Virtuoso voyages with cruises, over 400 cruises every year, get special perks. We have special publications such as Virtuoso Adventure Travel, and other publications such as The Best of the Best, and Virtuoso Life and Virtuoso Traveler magazines. If you would like to have any of these publications on a digital basis, please let me know. I can sign you up for free digitally. If you're old school and you would like a hard copy, please let me know. I can also sign you up for that, and there would be a minimal fee for mailing purposes. So traveling solo, let's switch over to what we're talking about tonight. So many companies have been ignoring solo travelers for years and would only look at solo travelers if there was a glut of product, if there was like an economic event, the US market tanked, all of a sudden solo travelers existed, right? Because the companies had all this product to sell. It was ignored, you guys were ignored for a long time. Cruise companies would often do 200%, and still a lot of them do. But now we're starting to see that retailers or vendors are starting to pay attention to this growing demographic of people like yourself who want to travel and don't want to pay 200%. So the 4 ways to manage the solo supplement: find someone who's going to reduce the solo supplement. I track that for my clients. Go with a small escorted group that's friendly to solo travelers. We're going to learn about Just You. Find a travel partner if you wanted a roommate. And I was talking to Bo about I have a survey that I've designed for people that want to find a roommate if you're looking at a different kind of group. And the 4th is to become a Pied Piper. You might travel with a bridge group or be part of a bridge group and want to travel with them. Then there might be a way for you to get discounted travel, and sometimes, depending on the numbers, actually travel for free. So we're talking about Just You tonight. Managing the solo supplement. What I love about Just You is that they have tours for solo travelers without additional cost. Small escorted groups as well, no supplement. The parent company, G Adventures, has a share program They also have small solo supplements, or you can find a roommate. But with just you, you don't have to do any of that because all of the rooms are by yourself. Find a travel partner. We don't have to do that with just you, but we're going to talk about Croatia and Portugal is maybe we might have a group of folks going from Ottawa so that you have company to travel with, people you will know if you want to get together for dinner, and that's part of the reason of actually looking at perhaps a date or two for Croatia and Portugal, and maybe some other interest if Italy is very popular, right? You're going to be talking about that. And the fourth is the pipe, as I mentioned. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nicole Harvey. Traveled here from Toronto. This is an example of me leveraging the relationships I have with Vision Travel, my host agency, that Nicole came from Toronto just for this evening. She's going to tell us all about Just You, and at the end actually talk about a special offer you have for people that have attended tonight. If you want to book anything, please respect that she's come here at my invitation, and I would like her to come back. So if you want to book anything, please book it through me so we have numbers that prove it was a successful evening. And with that, Nicole, thank you very much. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. We'll do a quick intermission as I change over the slides here. Ignore my messy desktop. All right, amazing. So thank you so much for coming this evening. Sheila was right. I'm from Toronto, so I drove up today. Thankfully, the roads were pretty clear. It's not like Saturday. I heard we're getting quite the storm, even in Toronto. So I was very thankful to have a nice sunny yet cold day to make the drive. As Sheila alluded to, I work for Just You, so I am the business development manager for Just You. But I've partnered with Sheila to speak to you tonight and tell you all about the product, as well as some of our more popular tours to get your dreams growing, I should say. So really quick agenda. Of course, I'm first going to go over all things Just You. So who we are, what we specialize in, really proving to you why you should travel with Just You. I'm going to talk a little bit about the demographics. So who you could expect to see on a Just You tour. I'm going to go over some frequently asked questions. These are things I hear from travelers like yourselves every night, so they might be things you're already thinking. We'll have lots of time at the end though if you have more questions and want to open up a bit of a discussion.
From the picture, is the Pope travel solo?
Pardon?
From the picture, is the Pope travel solo?
I don't think so. I think he's got a whole regime of people around him. But we definitely do go to Vatican. And then, of course, I'm going to go over a bit of a tour breakdown, so to give you an idea of what some of our more popular tours offer and the value of those, so talking price as well, so you know. So, without further ado, I'm going to show you a quick brand video. My thing is all good.
And I call GTO 03934.
Ignore the robot. Oops.
When you travel solo with Just You, everything's taken care of.
I saw amazing places, tried new things. Wow, I loved every minute. I met incredible people along the way.
We had such a laugh.
We shared some wonderful memories. There was still time for me.
This,
Just take your time, you won't regret it.
just amazing.
Just You, solo adventures together.
So, from the British accent there, nice segue into my next slide. History lesson and the background of our company is we actually originated in the UK. And we've been around now for 15 years. We're actually quite the household name in the UK. But in 2017, as Sheila mentioned, we were bought by the owner of G Adventures. Have many people heard about G? It was formerly called Gap. Yeah, familiar? So Bruce Poontick, he bought us in 2017. And that's when we started selling Just You to Canadians. So still to this day, we're only sold in the UK and in Canada. And the majority of our travelers are British, just because of the history we have there. But us Canadians are starting to increase on each tours, which I love to see. In terms of what we offer, quite simply, we do escorted group tours exclusively for solo travelers. So the three main things to remember would be that everybody on the tour is solo, everyone's guaranteed their own private room, so we don't match you up with someone else, no stranger roommates, and third, you'll never pay a single supplement. So all the prices in the brochure are per person per room. There's no additional fee. When I say that, I sometimes get a little skepticism. I can see everyone's face, so sometimes there's a little squinting going on. Fair enough, people sometimes assume we've just built the fee into the price. But in fact, we work really hard to only work with hotel partners that don't charge us a single supplement so that we're not passing that fee on to you. And actually, we've got some really nice relationships we've been fostering now for 15 years, and we've been able to maintain that part of our negotiations, because at the end of the day, we're negotiating only on behalf of solo travelers. So it simply wouldn't make any sense if we were paying a single supplement for every single room we required. People often ask, well, who are your competitors? Who else in Canada is focusing on solo? Right now, and if you've heard of someone, let me know, but right now I don't think there's anyone else in Canada selling exclusively to solo travelers, at least not to the scale that we are, which is an exciting spot to be. I'm sure that's going to change. We'll probably have competitors in the next year or so, but for now it's really nice to be the one and only solo escorted tour company in Canada. So diving a little bit deeper into what makes us the solo travel specialist, I always like to first talk about our itineraries and how we have carefully designed itineraries specific to solo travelers. And what I mean by that is many solo travelers, perhaps many of you in the room, are very independent people. You know what you want to do on any given day. Maybe you've traveled solo for the majority of your life. Maybe you live alone. You don't need a lot of hand-holding. You know, you maybe don't want to follow a flag around a piazza all afternoon. So you want that freedom and flexibility. You appreciate that time to yourself. So on all of our tours, we make that a priority. We want you to have that freedom, that flexibility. We always say, come and go as you please. If there's something in the itinerary that doesn't appeal to you, no problem. Go off, do your own thing, let the tour manager know you're taking some time, and that's completely okay. But just as much as there are those people who want that independence, there's many travelers that come with us who have never traveled solo. And maybe they're fearful, they're anxious, maybe they've recently lost a partner or recently divorced, and they don't want to be left to their own devices. They want that hand-holding. So just as much as we're encouraging, come and go as you please, we've got a very structured itinerary. So if you want to be with the group from sun up to sundown, you have that choice. Whoops. The camaraderie of like-minded travelers, I really can't stress this point enough. I actually should bold it just to have it pop out a little bit more. Really, I think if I were to summarize Just You into one sentence, that would be it. You are surrounded by other like-minded solo travelers. You're not joining a group of 10 or 15 couples and then a few solos. Everyone on the tour is solo. So it's a really nice environment to join into it, and it makes for a very fun and inclusive environment. You're not a third wheel at dinner time. I know that can be sometimes awkward if it's a bunch of couples and you're wondering, well, who do I have dinner with, right? It's everyone's in a similar boat, which creates a really nice atmosphere. Our tour managers really do go above and beyond to make sure that your holiday is the trip of a lifetime every time. In fact, I was in St. John's, I was telling Sheila, last fall, or this past fall, 2019, and one of the clients I was meeting there, she and her travel agent had recently gone to Tuscany, and while they were in Tuscany, there was a strike at the Pisa airport. No fault of anyone's, you could never predict these things happening, but they were stuck, essentially, at the airport. They thought they were going to be flying out, and they couldn't. So the client was texting with our tour manager, who they had just spent the past 8 days with, and they, told her of the situation. She came back to the airport and helped them check into a new hotel. Completely was done her line of duty. She'd spent 8 days with this group, and she could have just gone home and said, okay, well, good luck, here's a link. But no, she came back, met them, helped them with their next arrangement. So it really warmed my heart to hear that story, because of course I'm representing this brand. I want to say these good things, but to have actual examples certainly helps me in my job. And finally, there's no single supplement ever. The prices you see in the brochure are the prices for your room, no roommate attached. In terms of demographics, most of our travelers are over the age of 45. Anyone over 18 is welcome, but we see most of our travelers 50s, 60s, 70s, into the 80s. We're not a dating service. You won't believe I sometimes still get questions, people asking me, what is this solo, just you tour operator, assuming that there's some sort of dating component. There's absolutely no dating component. I'm sorry if that's why you're here. We say we're single, or we're solo, not single, right? You don't need to be single to travel with just you. In fact, in a couple slides, or I'll tell you now, 20% of our clients are married. So again, to Sheila's point earlier, many solo travelers have a partner back home, happily together, but maybe he or she doesn't want to travel. Or maybe for health reasons or for work, can't get time off, or just don't agree on the places they want to see. So it's certainly not just for singles. 80% of our travelers are female. Again, that's a stat we went over, and I think that's pretty, indicative in the market. And when we ask our travelers to describe themselves, common themes and words we hear are they're adventurous, they're outgoing, well-educated, and love to learn about the history and the culture of the places that they visit. So anyone over 18 is welcome. We do have to have a minimum because when you have your own hotel room, many countries require you to be over 18. But if you wanted to travel with a child, a grandchild, you certainly have that option as long as they're over 18. And the best part is they get their room, you get your room. You have different sleep schedules. Works nicely. 20% of our clientele is married. Our largest group has 40 passengers. That is the absolute max capacity that we offer. Our smallest is about 15. Most of our tours are between 25 and 30. So it's definitely not a small group, but it's kind of that mid-tier range. You're still small enough that you get to know each other and have a lot of exposure to the tour manager and not get lost on a 45, 50-seater bus. And finally, breakfast is always included. That is our standard. So every single tour in the brochure, breakfast every day is a part of the tour. You've already paid for that. Some of our tours are considered half board. Now, half board means 2 meals a day are included. So breakfast plus either lunch or dinner. Some tours are full board, so all your meals are included. And then we even offer some all-inclusive tours. So all meals and all drinks. And that information is always at the very top of the tour page, just under the starting price. It'll either say all breakfast, half board, full board, or all inclusive. So a few extra perks if I haven't already sold you on just you. Firstly, all of our departures are guaranteed. Is anyone unfamiliar with the term guaranteed departure? I'll explain it in case people are being shy. A guaranteed departure simply means no matter what, the tour is going. If we have a date in the brochure, that tour is good to go. As soon as we get one person booked, it's guaranteed departure. When I learned about this, it kind of confused me. I thought, well, why would we promote and be selling dates that might not depart? That doesn't seem very, safe or consistent or reliable. And I was told that, in fact, many companies, will submit a whole list of dates, but they're not guaranteed. They have to reach a certain number of passengers before they say, okay, yeah, this tour can go. We're going to make enough money. But what Just You does, which I think is very smart, we only publish dates that historically have sold out for us. So we know confidently these dates are going to fill up. And on our end, we have dates on reserve that we don't publish until these have sold out. So we thought we don't want to tease you with some dates that might not go. Let's just put the ones we can guarantee. And once those have filled up, we'll release more if necessary. But it really helps your life. It helps Sheila. She can book your airfare right away, get all your arrangements set up. You're not waiting for Just You to say, am I going on vacation, am I not? It's a guaranteed departure.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Thank you. Do you publicize those backup dates or those?
Yeah, so Sheila would have access to all of our dates.
Okay.
So if you were looking at a Tuscany tour and talked to Sheila and it said it's filled up, she would know from our back end if we had released more dates.
Not so much filled up, just I couldn't make it that point, and the alternate date would work better for me. Would I have access to that information?
Yes, again, so Sheila would know all of our dates, whatever's been published, as we are partners with Sheila, she has access to those. So she could kind of walk you through what dates might work for you, if it's not something in the brochure.
You would have, your tours would have multiple dates to pick, right?
nights.
Oh yes, and they
It
do.
wouldn't just be one day, so you could pick. But let me just emphasize how rare this is. G Adventures does it, Just You does it, but I was booking a client to cruise today, and we were about to put final payment down and book non-refundable air, and the cruise line canceled the cruise. They didn't have minimum numbers. So this is very unusual, and you guys are to be commended for doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a nice feature. Yeah, especially when you've experienced something like that. When you see this, it's like, yay, for sure. We also offer a loyalty program for all guests who come back with us. So what this is it's $100 off your next booking. So hopefully you'll go on your first Just You tour, you'll love it, you'll come back, you'll call up Sheila, and you'll want to book again. As long as you book within 6 months of returning and travel again within 1 year, so it would have to be an annual trip, you get $100 off that booking. But you could do that as many times as you want. Small group sizes, as mentioned, averaging between 25 and 30, so again, a more intimate group size. You're not getting lost in these massive, massive groups. We also added a new multi-booking discount. And what this is if you book 2 tours back to back, you'll get $50 off of each additional tour that you add. And the reason we've done this is we found many Canadians wanted to add a couple tours together, especially going over to Europe. It's a long flight. That first day might be a write-off with the 6 or 5 hours of time difference you're dealing with. So we decided let's reward our clients who want to add 2 together and really add to their tour. And finally, protected deposits. Has anyone had experience with a protected deposit? I'll explain this feature. It's another really nice one. So what this means is if something happens, you put your deposit down, but you have to cancel your tour, or you change your mind. You think, you know what, maybe this year isn't the year for this trip, or I just want to go somewhere else. You're not going to lose that deposit. Instead, we hold on to it for you for up to 2 years, and you can apply it to a different tour, as long as you are canceling before you pay your final payment. So it gives you that flexibility, and it really just secures your seat. So I'll run through some frequently asked questions. The first one, do I get to dine with others? Nope, everyone has to sit by themselves, no talking, no conversing. Obviously, I'm joking. I understand this concern, and I actually hear this question quite a bit. People have this fear about traveling solo and being in a restaurant, and God forbid they're alone. And fair enough, I used to feel this way too about eating solo. Now I do it all the time because I'm on the road. But on Just You, this never happens, unless you want it to. But we see our travelers, again, because it's such a friendly, inclusive environment, people are eating together all the time, even when it's not a meal that's included. We'll make arrangements in the lobby, everyone goes up to their room, showers, comes back down, and they're off. But of course, if you want to go off and have your own meal, number 2, can I do my own thing away from the group? Absolutely. I was in Tuscany in July with a group, and on one of the days we were going to Florence. But one of the ladies I was with had recently been to Florence, and she didn't want to join the group, and she also wasn't feeling well. Her hip was giving her some pain, so she decided to take a day off. She just enjoyed the hotel amenities, checked out the town, and we met her that evening for dinner. So not a problem at all if you want to, that was funny. Not a problem at all if you want to, take a day. It's really, we do encourage come and go as you please. We understand your independence is important to you, and we're all adults here. If there's something that doesn't interest you, absolutely, leave it out. Number 3, are there any hidden costs? So all of the prices are in Canadian dollars, taxes included. The only additional fee I would say is gratuities. So we don't include gratuities in those prices. What we will provide is a bit of guidance in your pre-departure documents around what's appropriate based on the country you're going to. And then, of course, it's completely discretionary what you choose to tip at the end of your tour. They are land-based tours, so the prices there are for the land portion, not including your air. But that's why with working with Sheila, she can help you get the best airfare to accompany your tour. Can anybody travel with Just You? Anyone over 18, male, female, single, married, widowed, divorced, no matter your circumstance, you're welcome on Just You. So, number 5. Can I stay longer, or could I do 2 tours back to back? Absolutely. Many of our clients choose to add a pre-night or a post-night. I always suggest at least a pre-night, especially when you're traveling the distance, it's nice to have that first sleep and sleep in day. But you can certainly add to your tour, or as I mentioned earlier, add another tour back to back if you choose. So Just You, of course, is all about solo travel. That is our niche. That's kind of the umbrella of what we do. But within that, we've got various styles of tours to choose from. Because, of course, solo travelers are just as unique as non-solo travelers. So I'm going to run through the various tour styles we offer. Classic touring is the most traditional tour style we offer. And this is where you'd be going from city to city, staying in multiple hotels, but you're seeing a lot, right? There's lots of inclusions. A nice example is Prague, Vienna, Budapest, by land, of course, not river cruise, unfortunately. We also do a lovely classic cities of Italy. It's Venice, Florence, and Rome. So the idea here is you're on the go. In contrast to this is what we call leisurely touring. Leisurely touring is probably our most popular tour style, and that's where you're in one hotel for the entire duration of your tour. And from there, we're doing day trips. It's probably our most popular style as well. People love the idea of, I get to unpack once, settle into this one hotel, same bed for 7 nights or 8 nights, and then each day you're seeing another city or region. So our Highlights of Tuscany tour, which is the one I was on in July, is an example of this. We're in Pisa, Siena, Florence, San Gimignano, but each night we're in the same hotel. Relax and Discover is probably my personal favorite style of tour because it incorporates touring with plenty of time to just relax and veg. It's a nice option if you're looking for more of that vacation style, a little bit of the fly and flop mixed in with some, stop and stop. So it's a nice balance between the two. So a tour might be, 1 day of touring, 1 day completely free for leisure, 3rd day touring, 4th day free, and there's always optional excursions on those free days if you want to beef up your tour. These tours also take place in beautiful sunny destinations, so Lake Como, for instance, St. Lucia, south of Spain. It'll be a place where you kind of want those free days just to enjoy. Short break, self-explanatory, it's a shorter trip. So New York City is a beautiful example. 3 nights, 4 days right in Times Square. We also offer active tours. I don't know why that's happening. Oh, okay. It's being temperamental. Active tours, most of our active tours are walking or hiking. What's really nice about our active tours is we tell you exactly how many kilometers a day you'll be walking. That's weird, eh? Yeah, I'm not touching it. So some of the walks we do are the Camino de Santiago, walking in Malta, walking in Tuscany. I'm just gonna fiddle with this for a second. Yeah, battery's full too.
Seems to be a signal issue.
Oh yeah? That's weird. I don't know.
What's that? Do you have a stick? Wi-Fi stick in there?
No, just my mouse stick. We'll see if maybe it'll let me. Cruising, right now we have only one Croatian cruise. It's a beautiful cruise, a coastal cruise along Split, Hvar, Brac, and up to Zadar as well. So Highlights of Tuscany, don't worry about straining your eyes to read this. I'm going to go through all the need to know. I just like to put it up here so it's included. Highlights of Tuscany is probably one of our most popular tours that we offer. It's really not hard to see why. It's an 8-day tour, staying in a 4-star hotel, starting at $14.99 for your 8 days. Again, that's land only, but for a tour including 11 meals, 7 breakfasts, 1 lunch, 4 dinners, your tour manager with you the entire time as your escort, plus local guides in Florence, Pisa, and Siena, tours in Florence, Siena, and Pisa, transportation, transfers, it's quite a reasonable price. So this tour, as I mentioned, we go to Florence for a day. And what I really loved about this day in Florence is, well, firstly, the hotel was maybe only an hour outside of Florence. So as far as touring goes, it's not too bad of a commute. We woke up, had a nice breakfast, met at the, outside the lobby at maybe 8:45, drove to Florence, and we were met by a local guide to take us on a guided tour of Florence. And that lasted for about 2.5 hours, and then what I really appreciated was free time. We got about 3 hours in Florence, completely free to use as we wished. So some people really wanted to go to the museums, other people really wanted to go to the leather market and shop. I think everyone wanted to go get some food and have a drink and chill for a bit. It was hot in July. So I really appreciated that essence of it's not go, go, go. You know, enjoy, we'll have the tour, you'll get your bearings, and then let's give you some free time. Then we met with the group at around 4 back on the bus, back to the hotel where we could, you know, if a meal was included that night, met for dinner, otherwise, you know, free to enjoy the evening. So really nice pace of travel on this tour. Then we went to Siena. Has anyone been to Siena in the room? Yeah? Do you remember what happens in the piazza twice a year?
The races.
Yeah,
Horse races.
Campo. Yeah, wow, the name escapes me, but horseback racing twice a year, and the horseback riders actually are riding bareback. So there's no saddles, and it's a very culturally significant event. It's televised, the whole city gets behind it, and actually Siena is made up of many districts. They're called contradas, basically neighborhoods, and each contrada has their own flag. And so each contrada has a horseback rider who represents their neighborhood, and whoever wins, that is the flag that is displayed all throughout the city. So it's quite an interesting place to see, especially after one of these horseback races has taken place, because all the flags are out, and they're very medieval, and it's actually, if I compared Florence to Siena, I think I preferred Siena. It was a little more quaint and just had that, I don't know, I can't think of the word, but it was a beautiful city. And then you can't really go to, you know, Tuscany without going to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So similar to the other 2 days, we're met by a local guide who gives us a really rich history of the area. What's also nice, on all of our tours, you get an audio piece. So it's a little headpiece with a battery pack to put in your pocket. So you don't need to be right up beside that local guide to hear what they're saying, which is great. Because some people, you know, want to take their time, they're taking lots of photos, or just wanting to be a little bit slower, so you're not missing out on what's being said. So Deluxe Dubrovnik and the Dalmatian coast. Croatia is hot right now. Has anyone been to Croatia? Whereabouts did you go?
I went to Split and drove around the coast there.
Oh, nice. Did you rent a car while you were there?
Yeah, I'm from Slovenia, so it's right next
Oh,
door.
lovely. I love Slovenia. Nice. Yeah. So Deluxe Dubrovnik, this is another nice tour in that we're staying in the same hotel in Kavtat, just south of Dubrovnik, for the entire 7 nights. So again, this idea of we're gonna set you up in one place, but still go and do day trips while you're there. Of course, while there, we're gonna have a very thorough guided tour of Dubrovnik. As you can see, it's a medieval walled or fortressed city. Did anyone watch Game of Thrones? Yeah, so I don't know if you recognize scenes or the images, but Game of Thrones was filmed, much of it in Croatia and Dubrovnik, and it's kind of interesting when you go there, there's signs all over about Game of Thrones tours to see where certain things were filmed. So if you're a fan, it's quite the place to see. This is a photo of the hotel that we use, and actually most of our property is 4-star, but on this tour we use a 5-star. And I recently met with a travel agent from Toronto who went on this tour, and she had amazing things to say about the amenities. Quite a gorgeous location, as you can see, you can't really top that, and beautiful landscape around. And one of the things I'm most excited about, because I was just there, is on this tour we take you down into Montenegro, and we go to Kotor for a day. And Kotor is another ancient walled city, quite fascinating. I spent 3 days there with a friend this summer, and every day, you know, these massive cruise ships come in at about 10 a.m. and then the city just fills with people. So we kind of tried to, you know, go out, have our breakfast, and walk around before everyone came. But it's a beautiful place to see, and we hiked up here. This is not my photo. I look a lot more sweaty in my selfies, and I didn't take any just out photos. But you can hike up and have beautiful views of the Bay of Kotor. So picturesque Portugal. Anyone been to Portugal? Yeah? Where all did you go when you were
I
there?
just spent most of our time in the Algarve.
Oh, nice. I didn't get down there when I was there. Yeah. So picturesque Portugal, this is a nice example of our classic touring style. So we're not staying in just one place. We're moving from city to city. There's tons to see in Portugal, so it kind of fits the style of the tour. And so sorry, I haven't been mentioning prices. This is an 8-day tour, and this starts at $21.49 Canadian tax in. So we start you off in Porto. Porto is known for, anyone know? Port. It's in the name. So while we're in Porto, we're going to go on a little cruise along the Douro and sip some authentic port in Porto, as well as have a guide of the city with our local guide that meets us. We're then going to head into the Douro Valley, where they make a lot of grapes, of course, for the port wine. So it's a beautiful area of the, oh no, not again, we made it so far. Oh, Guimarães is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Lots of castle ruins there to explore. So again, we'll be met by a local guide to take us around and also give you some time at leisure to do a bit of exploring on your own. And this tour ends in Lisbon, the now capital city of Portugal. So we'll spend a few nights in Lisbon to kind of conclude the tour. So it's really nice to be able to see the different areas and landscapes of Portugal. Oh, geez. Almost there. So in terms of how you book, the protected deposits are $350 or 10%, whatever works out to be higher. And again, what I mean by protected deposits is you could give Sheila your money tomorrow, hopefully, and she you've saved your seat, but if you change your mind, that's no problem. You have up to 2 years to use that deposit.